When you claim your Africanness, you're going to get your mind back. Black and I'm proud. Black and I'm proud. When you claim your Africanness, you're going to get your mind back. Black and I'm proud. Claim your Africanness. Black and I'm proud. I'm telling you. When you claim your Africanness, you're going to get your mind back. Black and I'm proud. Claim your Africanness. Black and I'm proud. I'm telling you. When you claim your Africanness, you're going to get your mind back. Black and I'm proud. Claim your Africanness. Black and I'm proud. I'm telling you. Become a part of it. Embrace it. 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 When you claim your Africanness, you're going to get your mind back. Black and I'm proud. Claim your Africanness. Black and I'm proud. I'm telling you. When you claim your Africanness, you're going to get your mind back. Black and I'm proud. Claim your Africanness. Black and I'm proud. I'm telling you.
Peace, 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 peace and blessings, family, peace and power. Dr. Daw back in the building. Family. We have a excellent broadcast today. Make sure you go ahead and like, share, subscribe to BlaKBoXX Radio. And Dr. Dennis Asar Winkler, both YouTube stations. Go ahead and save BlaKBoXXradio.com in your favorites on your website. Go ahead and follow BlaKBoXX Radio on Instagram, Facebook, YouTube. Like some things, share some things, and make some things happen. Today should be a excellent show or discussion, dialogue, communication piece. We're talking about men controlling and legislating Black women's bodies. Family. I think the conversation is needed. And of course, as you know, I don't necessarily always just go with the reigning discourse. You understand? So, we want to talk about this. I think many times we have easy conversations, not the difficult and real conversations, but let's have it. You understand? Because one thing I know about this society is we can repeat and parrot some stuff. Queen, talk to the people.
Good evening, everyone. Greetings from the Chuck. Listen, I flew in last night from Maryland. It was raining in Maryland. And now I'm in this hurricane, guys. So it's raining cats and dogs down here, flooding. So this is a level of love. I'm sitting in the middle of a hurricane talking to my peoples. But this conversation is going to be a hurricane, for real, because we need to have it. Legislating women's bodies. Men who have never been women, who don't know how to be women, who don't go through what women go through, have the nerve to legislate and control women. So that's what we're going to talk about tonight. I first want to say also, today would have been my deceased brother's birthday. So I want to say ashe to him.
Blessings.
Yes. And so I do want to say that. And we're going to have a good show, guys. Let's get it done.
Ashe to your brother. What's his name? Let's call his name.
His name was Louis Todd Best Jr.
Ashe. Yo. Family. Where do we start? Go ahead. You go ahead and drop it.
I think we should start. I mean, really, this conversation is popping. Politics has actually put it in the forefront more. Trumpy, he is the president that went after Roe V Wade and actually got it overturned. Now we're in a national election, so it's back at the forefront. And now we have some implications of overturning Roe v. Wade. When it first was overturned about 2 years ago, people couldn't believe it. It happened. But now we have actual instances of women having difficulties. The healthcare system has to work around the laws. It's been given to the states. Some states are more conservative. Some states are legislating choice. So we're in a quandary. And I think that is unfortunate for women because they're not making the decisions and it's their bodies. I understand that men impregnate women. I understand that men have a level of ownership to the seed, not the body, not the chamber. And so that is the conversation is like, how far do you go? How much can you control? How much can you legislate?
So what's the argument here?
Well, the argument is do you have the right to, why are we legislating women's bodies? That's the question. Why are we in a society where we do not trust women enough? That's first. Second, that we feel we have to legislate. And three, what is this control mechanism? What is it? So those are the questions that I would like to venture in. The why.
Well, first, let me say this. I don't think men are legislating women's bodies.
Okay. What do you think?
I don't really count those people who think that they control people's bodies as men. I might call them patriarchal white supremacists, religious fundamentalists.
So what about the black men who believe that?
See, this is the real conversation for us. I don't think black men legislate women's bodies. I think that's an error.
Okay.
I think that's fallacious.
Fallacious after 9.
Yeah, I think it's fallacious. I think it's a lie. And I think that, many times we pick and choose when we want to give men power and take it away from them, especially black men.
Whoa.
Now I know that you and I was having a conversation.
Whoa.
And we wanted to dive into this a bit more.
You threw a bone in a conversation. You didn't say that before. You got me over here rocking.
No, you were coming at me hard, and I told you
I'm rocking now, bro.
I say keep it.
It's this mental
we'll
health
pick it
rock.
up. I said we're gonna pick it up on the show because I don't want to talk about it right now. I want to argue with you right now. And I said something like that.
Yeah, you sure did, but I didn't know you was coming this way.
That was
you hot now.
So
okay,
I think that we pick and choose. I mean, literally the other day I was on a park and I'll be honest, I think I may have shared this with you, but we were having a meeting, a town hall meeting, and one of the doctor's sisters just out of nowhere started saying that she noticed patriarchy or men wanting to legislate women's bodies, and she's getting a visceral feeling and all this type of thing in a group of black people, black men who are the panelists, who said nothing about Roe versus Wade, nothing about anything that had to do with abortion, but what they were speaking to was the idea that some were more, let's say, they were a little more left-leaning than what we find the Democratic Party to be. So the fact that they did not want to choose Kamala, I'm sorry, and even that came up, right? Like, people are mispronouncing her name, and I don't think that is always the case. I know that there's people, like just now, the way I said her name was not intentional, honestly. It's because we've been saying it for so long in this way that it, and to some way, I think it also sounds more black when you're like, I honestly think part of us, we say certain things a certain way because it kind of fits the cultural tongue a bit. Like Kamala or Kamala. Let's keep that a buck. I don't know about those white folks, but I am saying I this thing that is going on, which I don't think is fair, is whereas you say something, you mispronounce sister doctor, Vice President Kamala's name, incorrectly, or your tongue just bends a certain way, now somehow that's male misogynistic patriarchy, and we're talking about black men. In fact, even on that call, I hadn't even heard anybody say it incorrectly, because now her niece and nephews have given us all a course. And that's the reason why I can even say it better. When I was taking up for Kamala, you can go back to the video. I guarantee you will hear me say her name 3 times, and I was really, really doing my best to prove that to support this sister being black. I wasn't even on a critiquing mission. My mission was to say, she says she's black. There's evidence that supports that she's black. And if you go back and you listen to it, I'm certain I'm in there saying it like 3 different ways. And the reality is, I don't think most of us can say we haven't said her name in multiple ways. So now when you now say it incorrectly, it's like this I got you moment. Look at this as male chauvinistic, patriotic stuff. Go ahead, you smiling. What you talking
about? I agree. But one thing, this name thing, we know that white people mispronounce it. Is a white ploy or a white supremacist ploy to mispronounce or say they can't pronounce our names, or our names are too complicated, especially as I've heard them call African names weird, as if everybody should be Mary, Joe, John, Peter, and Paul. So I totally understand that people, that is a thing. That is a thing. But I think that we are so caught up in what goes on with what white people are doing that we tend to emulate the same behavior. Her name is ambiguous to me. I think that it's a name that you would mispronounce. Kamala. I'll call her Kamala so many times. And I've had to kind of, say it correctly. It's Kamala. It is an ambiguous name. So I don't think that a lot of the enunciation is being mean or trying to devalue her name or devalue her. I think she has a name that's definitely ambiguous, but it is a white supremacist tool to mispronounce the African names, especially African names on the continent. So that's what they do. But I think she does have a name that can be tricky. So I think we should get out of that, stop emulating white folks, and just do us. And her name is ambiguous. Just call her that sister. The sister that's the president, gonna be the president, running for president. Ain't only one. It's a woman and a man.
But I think that lots of us have, to a great degree, just we've heard her name said certain ways. It's kind of like
I've heard it so many ways. Like Kamala.
Like I'm in Baltimore, right? And every city has these. Every city has this thing, right? Where they have a local street in their communities where they pronounce it the way they pronounce it. And when out of towners come, they pronounce it correctly. Every place has this. Like, so you kind of begin to know either the person's really a little articulate and want to be a little extra.
Like I say Bentaloo. And people say Bentlow. I say Bentaloo because I didn't know it was, that's a street in Baltimore. Everybody calls it Bentlow, but it's spelled Bentalou. I call it Bentaloo. Right. So, it depends on who you are, and we're in the black tongue, it got a lot of flavor, baby. So, the way that we pronounce things, our enunciation, how we break things down is a cultural thing. That's what we do. So I think, some people are devaluing her with the name issue, but I think she has an ambiguous name for sure.
That definitely is one of the cases, right? And again, we can also keep in mind that some people, even when they hear it, they're saying, I don't care what her name is, right? I don't care how I say it. And they're doing that intentionally, right? But the reality is that's not everybody. And
true.
But so on this particular town hall, the sister says she's having visceral experiences and she's feeling patriarchy in the space, and she feels very unsafe, and she's and nobody, no one ever said that they were supporting Trump, but in her mind she started rolling her eyes were all up in her head, and she was making all types of faces and all types of things when I was talking, and I kind of try to remind us to settle our bodies, because when we're dealing with triggers, we believe we hear things that we didn't hear. Nobody, when somebody hears somebody say, well, vote for the Green Party or vote for Cornell and vote for this, it instantly sends some of our minds into this thing that they are for abortion. I mean, banning abortions, and men and y'all black men are now trying to own our bodies, right? And I think I talked to Queen the other day, and I said, Queen said yes, because men think they own, and I think she got on a little case of it. And yes, because men own our bodies. Like black men think they own our bodies as well. And I said, I don't think all. And I said most. I don't think most black men. And she said, see, that's what it is. Go ahead.
That's not what I said.
Fix it for me.
I said we were talking. We had.
If it's wrong, I'm gonna fix it back.
we had an argument.
It wasn't a real argument. It didn't go far.
But not an argument. I said the men is controlling women's bodies. Men are legislating women's bodies. You know, the legislature in this country is mostly men and mostly white men. We know this. And so they're doing this, and they're going after Roe V Wade. Not going after, they actually eradicated it. So you said to me, I said, well, black men are emulating the same behavior as white men. They want the same thing. Shut up, sit down. And whatever you do with your body, you have to ask us first. So I said, I don't think men and that thing has anything to do with color. I think that is a man thing. Like, men really think they have a say in what a woman does with her body. And I think that we as women too, though, we have fell into the rabbit hole because we believe that, and they don't. We control this body.
Go ahead.
And we can control men with our body.
All right, no, you adding stuff. This is not what happened. Okay, so now
I'm not adding no stuff.
You putting a whole lot of extra words. It was like black men. It was it was a response.
I said black men act just like white men.
It wasn't even about Roe versus Wade. It was like black men, because we were talking about something about how men
act just like white men were controlling women. That's what I said.
And I said most black men do not think like that. And you said that's
and I said that you don't deal with black men.
Yes, you said you don't deal with black men.
We deal with black men. Always tell black women what black men do. And you guys don't date black men. You don't marry black men. You're not in anything intimate with a black man. So how do you tell women what black men are doing to women? That's a big statement.
Some men date some black men date men. So
I'm not talking about some men. I'm talking about the men who talk to me about what black men are doing. They're not dating men.
Okay, I'm a man, and I've also know a little bit about research, and I know that culturally, that black men for the most part are not like white men when it comes to how they perceive women. Black men, even if they need, we got some work to do. Let's keep that 100. But at the same time, black men look at their mothers as the matriarch. Black men, the black family is organized a bit differently than white families. So that's one thing. And I know that there's evidence to that, right? And then there's also just statistics that don't support the fact that black men are much different than how black women want to regulate their bodies. It's the statistics aren't like, or it's not really giving that. Ain't that how it's not giving that. You got what I'm trying to say? So what I'm saying is, if I can even think about it, if I can look up some things like,
I would like you to look up some things. I don't think that black women are thinking the same as black men when it comes to our body. It's
They
just
are.
like black women cannot think the same about a black man's body because they don't have one. I can't
Well,
believe that.
well,
No,
let's do it. Let's do it.
the
Let-
statistics, where they come from?
Well, now you want to take. You said just look it up, and now you want to give them back because you know you about to lose.
I'm not gonna lose. I don't care what statistics you have. Black
Okay,
women
so it's no
are
it's no
not.
reason it's no reason for me to show any statistics because you are not going to. It's like you're just going to go with what you believe.
It's not that I believe it. I'm a black woman. I'm a black woman, and
Uh-huh.
many men that I come, they don't think the same about my body as I do. They
Yeah,
can't.
you have anecdotal. What I am trying to tell you, on average, black women and black men are relatively similar as it relates to their opinions about this idea of Roe versus Wade. You know, it's not
Okay,
many.
let me see it. Give me the statistics. Let's see it.
Okay,
Let's see it then.
let's see if we can go through it. Hold on, let's do this.
Because
All
why would
right,
black women say they wouldn't want Roe v. Wade? I don't
all
believe
right, okay. Let's see what we talking about here. Let's see. I didn't get to prepare as much as I would like to today, but
the man with the research. Come on with it.
let's go through it. Right, Pew Research
Right.
Center. Let's see what this says. Majorities and many. Can you see that, Queen, at all? Oh, can you put it on the screen?
Put it on the stage. Mm-hmm.
Oh yeah, it's there. Okay, so
Mm-hmm.
I'm not sure. Do we have to make that bigger?
Can you see it better
is it
now?
getting big? Is it bigger now, Queen, for you?
It's bigger for me. I can see it. Can you see it?
Okay. So all right. So let's see here. Let's see where we at.
Americans'
Well, let's see where
opinions.
we are. Let's see where we are. Let's see. Let's look at all the categories. Okay.
Supreme
So
Court's
this is
decision to overturn Roe v. Wade.
62% of Americans say abortion should be legal. In all or most cases, little changed since before the court's decisions. A majority of Americans disapprove of the U.S. Supreme Court's landmark ruling overturning Roe versus Wade, which had guaranteed a constitutional right to an abortion for nearly 50 years. Public support for legal abortions remained largely unchanged since the decision, with 62% saying it should be legal in all or most cases. Let's go down here. It says Supreme Court's decision to overturn Roe v. Wade draws more strong disapproval among Democrats than disapproval among Democrats than strong approval among Republicans.
Mm-hmm.
As you see here, the numbers here, you see overall this men in general 52, where you see women are more like 62. This is overall statistics, right?
Right.
And even then, right, it's like a 10% gap, right? But when we go down and let's go down and look at some more things here. It's different when you look at Republicans versus Democrats, as you can see, right? And I mean, that's easy enough to know that most of the black men are like Democrats in general, right? Sizable race, age, educational differences and views of Supreme Court's decisions to overturn Roe versus Wade. White 55% of white Americans strongly disapprove of the decision. 67% of black Americans strongly, in just white and black alone, there's a major difference. And Asians even more strongly say, oh no, we disapprove of this decision to overturn it. Hispanics less than African Americans. It differs by age. It seems like the younger you are, the more that you disapprove, right? Educational wise, it seems that the more education one has, the more they disapprove of the decision. The less education one has, they approve of the decision. But still, it's still pretty, a little over half the country this country is statistically split on this. Let's see where we go down to among white adults, white gender gaps and views of court decision. Men, 52% disapprove, white men, whereas white women, 62% disapprove. Hold on, I'm sorry, that's overall. White men, 47%, right, disapprove. So now when we look at this, so statistically it's almost 50%, right? But actually less than 50% of white men disapprove of the decision, whereas 62% of white women do. Black men, black women, very close, 66 and 69%, right? Very close, 66 and 69. Statistically, really no difference there. Hispanics, 54, 59, not much of a difference there. When you look at the white people, there's like 10% difference there. They don't have anything.
It's more than 10%. 47, 62. You did the total.
I'm sorry. I keep going back up here. I'm sorry, because they are the norm, right? You're right. Yeah. Thank you for that, Queen. That was good. Yeah, that's white over 10%.
This is their thing. Now
look at So again, the point is black men don't think like white men. Hell, Hispanic men don't think, and we think they're the worst, right? I'm just saying that's what people think, they're the worst.
They're very conservative too.
Oh, him and his march. But you would not probably think it was that close, right? And what I'm saying is there's a similarities in thought with men and women, because this is not we want to make black men patriarchal and oppressive when we want to. The statistics don't support that. In fact, none of our reasoning supports that. Our reasoning doesn't even support that. And what I mean by that? What I mean by that is, how can black men be deemed powerless when we want to deem them powerless, and then somehow when it comes to women, we want to have them, when it comes to our sisters, we want to give them all the power in the world. We want to make them somehow legislating white misogynistic oppression or what have you. When first and foremost, when we look at the statistics, there's not much difference between what black men think and what black women think. Then we also look at it and we say, well, look, black men, are they really legislating this? Let's keep it a buck. Are black men, we say black men don't have no power. We say black men can't be racist. We say black men can't be ableist. We say black men can't be all these things. But when it comes to us in our relationships, we want to now somehow give black men power and say, look, so you are oppressing us. And I'm like, what? Like, so how can the powerless and somehow we're more oppressed than you? I think that does nothing for our community. I get it. There's on an individual level, black men, we got to do some work. But when we talk about power, when we talk about legislation, when we talk about controlling women's bodies, when has a black man since his experience in this country been able to legislate and control a black woman's body?
From your statistics, Pew Research Center, it does. I see what that says, but I was talking about the thought process of black men. When it comes to women stay in their place, women shut up, controlling, being a controlling presence in a household or in a relationship or anything. I was talking more of that. They emulate the same behaviors, when manly behaviors. Now, particularly per abortion, I think that we tend to think alike. I'm not disputing that black women and black men are not probably thinking alike in that, because we're not we're very empathetic people. And I think that's across the board. And we see the difference in empathy in other, from those numbers alone, 47% white male, 62% white female. We see the difference. White men have a different thought about this subject than most people.
Mm-hmm.
even their women.
Mm-hmm.
Um, but I was saying more of attitude, how they show up in relationships with Black women, what they
I don't
expect from
think.
Black women. That's
Let
what
me
I
keep
was
it up.
talking about.
I don't think Black men think they own Black women more than Black women, no more or less than Black women think they own men. Black men. I'm sorry, I can't hear you, sweetie. Queen, I can't hear you. I don't
My
say it again.
mic. Can you hear me?
Yeah, put it back on the
Okay,
change the setting. The setting. Change the setting. You probably have to go back to the
testing.
yeah, go back into your settings. Can you hear me? Queen? All right, so go ahead, Queen. Say it again.
Yeah, pardon me. That's my
Yeah, you're
mic.
back.
I think, yeah, I'm back. I think
Mhm.
we have a level. I'm talking about how they show up in relation to Black women. I think there's a lot of likenesses in how men move. That
Likenesses.
yeah, likeness like you said, women shut up, stay in your place.
Boy, shut up. Boy. Oh, okay. All right. Okay. I mean, enough. What I'm saying is, it's bi-directional. It ain't no way. Look, I've been in the Black community a long time, and I've been in a lot of Black relationships. I mean, I've been in a Black relationship for a long time, but I've also counseled a lot of Black relationships. In fact, I was just counseling some earlier. And God of mercy, if I had to be honest, the way that women speak to men, and we've talked about this already, and I'm not saying that men don't do their thing, because they do, but I am telling you that it has become normal for women to say what they want to say out of their mouths, and men just shut up, while women can, do their thing, because a man's supposed to just shut up and take it. Like, I'm serious. Like, literally, it happens all the time where women like, why are you crying? Me and you have talked about this, Queen. We've talked about this, how women in your circles, you even told me that women, the way that they talk about men and the way that they talk to men, I don't know too many Black women that don't treat Black men in a certain, like, this is part of the argument that a lot of women don't want to hear. And I'm saying men don't want to hear women's argument. I'm not taking one. You can't convince me that both people don't need some pointers. That the men and the women are bi-directionally thinking they own one another, and they can talk, especially women. Women get a lot of pass on how they can talk to men. Now, some men, very few men actually stand up for themselves. But the problem is, a lot of times when men about to stand up, they're really aggressive and they over the top. But a lot of men are very controlling. But what it shows is men, the more religious they are, the more controlling they are. The more that they disagree with abortion and stuff abortion rights and all those type of things. And again,
and how the women should be placed in the household. Her I think Christianity has a bearing to
not
do with
just
that.
Christianity, but a lot of
Religion. Yes, you're right. Muslim, all it becomes very paternal once people are more religious. I agree with that.
And then there's versions of Christianity and even Islam that don't accept that. So it's really particular really fundamentalists, and they really want to control things. The religion itself tells you how you must live your life, and that their interpretation of it dictates how it is. And guess what? You're not going to have too many women fighting against that either, because they believe in that religion. You don't really have a problem when you have two people that believe in it, but when one person doesn't agree, that's when you start to find a lot of problems.
Yeah.
I'm not saying whether I agree with that or not, but if they are living a life and it's healthy and they've reared children and a good family and did lots of things and it works for them, it works for them. But it doesn't.
That's why they said people have to be like a even yoke or whatever. Like they have to have like the same things to keep the dissension down. Like other people, you usually don't see people in other religions together.
Yeah, you can't.
It works, but it takes a minute.
Absolutely. And I don't. You can't. I mean, unless there's some hardcore research statistics that someone shows me that black women don't equally or give or take think that they own their partner. I haven't seen where it happens when people in these serious relationships where they believe they own each other.
I get what you're saying, Da, but the difference here is we're not legislating anything
Black
about
men
men.
aren't. Black men are not legislating. This is what I
No,
keep saying.
either white
Black,
men. No one is legislating anything. No, okay, listen, let me give you an example.
white men are
Okay.
legislating. White power, white supremacy, patriarchy, capitalism is doing that.
It's not legislating what you do with your body.
No. They
It's
are
not.
attempting. They are.
There's
This
nothing
is the
out
whole.
here is happening. What?
This is the
What is
whole
it?
argument about Roe versus Wade, that they don't want the government in their business.
I get it, but this is what I'm saying. Even the part to go and spend time, legislate, control, whatever you're doing, to tell women what they should do once they're pregnant, and how that should play out. Nothing like that is going down with men. We're not, even if you look in this society, the testing on men is so less evasive than it is on women.
That's not the argument.
But it's not the argument. But I'm saying we're not legislating anything about men's bodies.
No,
Nothing.
The conversation is men controlling and legislating black women's bodies. That's the general phrase. The second statement, the real underlying statement, is black men are doing that, and I'm arguing that black men are not doing that. Black men don't have the power to do that.
I hear you, that argument, and I said I agree with that argument. But what I am saying is, why we are legislating, and white men are. Say black men are not. Okay, but it's happening to women. There's no legislation ever been on a man's body ever.
It has always. That's not true. That's not true.
Let me finish. Let me finish. Yeah, but let me finish. Okay, let me finish. When it comes to sexuality, to them creating, so you can say to men at a certain age, we're going to cut your gonads off so you can't have any children.
Okay.
At a certain age.
All right. I know that's triggering you, but what I'm saying is that's not true.
Triggered. I'm saying
black men have been chattel slaves in this country and forced to have sex and forced to make babies and even raped. This was legislation. That. Black men was forced to do things. There's legislation to put black men in jail. This is not about who is more legislated. We are all oppressed. Black men.
We are absolutely oppressed, but no one is legislating all women, all men's bodies.
You're talking about you're talking about as far as giving birth, right?
I'm talking. That's the only thing that's being legislated.
No, the legislation is why legislation shows up different for different genders. What I am saying is, it is not a lie that black men are disproportionately locked up in this country through legislation. It is not. We're talking about what we're talking about. We understand that, Doc. We're talking about what we're talking about. Of course,
men and women both have. If men make babies and women carry them. Men make babies. Let me finish. Men make babies and women carry them. So if women are carrying them and you don't want women to abort them, or you don't want them to have the choice or the chance, then why do we make a legislation at a certain time? You cannot have sex with women. We're gonna clip your ability to procreate until we think you can. Why has that never been legislated? And then we don't have to worry about abortion.
Because what you're saying, okay, I see what you're saying. So you're saying because all of it is BS. Are you good? All of it is inappropriate.
Can you hear me?
Back in the mic again. So, first and foremost, go ahead. I can hear you, but I am not sure you're not coming through the mic. But can you hear me? I think I don't know if you can hear me or not, but nonetheless, what I do want to say is this. there has been legislation to do whatever you want to do and have done to do to black men and black women. There's nothing that people could not do to black men's bodies nor black women's bodies. And this was through legislation. There's nothing off the table, including taking your penis off. There was nothing off the table, even as far as castrating you. These are things that took place. So it's not true what you're saying.
We talk about all people. This thing we're talking about, yes, it's black women, but what's being legislated is not just for black women. It's all women.
We're talking about men controlling and legislating black women's bodies, which you chose and picked the title.
No, I didn't say black women's body. I said women's. And you put black in there.
No.
Yeah.
You want to? No. This is you don't ever talk about white women. You don't really care about white women. Stop it. What I'm saying is,
my goodness, this is
let's keep it a buck. So what I'm saying, and what I'm not saying you don't care about white men holistically, but what I'm saying is, you were speaking about black women. That's where your fight is, and I'm not saying there's anything wrong with that. That's where your fight is. Don't try to bring it up to women now. It's about black women.
It is, but this, like I said, and when I wrote the synopsis of what we're talking about,
right?
I said that this affects all women. The controlling and legislating a women's body. Yes, we're talking about black women, but because we're black centered.
Well,
but I don't know a legislation that has been for all men. Men, when it comes to their bodies.
That has nothing to do with black men, though. We're talking about white women have been oppressed. Black women have been oppressed. Black men have been oppressed. What I am saying is, I cannot get with the idea of lumping black men in with white men in power. That's a poor follow. It is not a logical. It's just not logical. It doesn't work out in the real world. If you want to pull all women, like, it's not about white men. And I mean, I don't know enough about white men's traumas to say that whether white men have never had legislation on them. I'm not sure, but I do know black men have. And I'm almost sure if we had to really nitpick, that you could find instances where white men's bodies have been legislated as well, even if it wasn't in this country. So, but I don't want to go there. This is about the black community. This is BlaKBoXX Radio, Doc in the Box. It's about black men and black women. And I am saying, and I'm arguing, and I maintain that there is nothing that I've seen and nothing I experienced research-wise or clinical-wise that shows me that black men and black women are so far off in their perspectives, and that one or two that each of them don't, to some point, believe they have a certain ownership of each other that sometimes is abusive. And I don't think that it has to be I think we can acknowledge the different ways that we need to heal, and and how we harm each other. And I assure you that that black women are being oppressed in this patriarchal white supremacist culture and country in ways that are different than black men. But I'm also going to argue that black men are being oppressed in ways that are different than black women. And I don't see where it's fruitful to point the finger that you never had this, or this never happened to you, when all we can do that back and forth, because it's kind of illogical to even compare. Like you can't abort You cannot give men abortions, but you can do something else. The black man is very feared in this country. So he has to pay certain repercussions that other men don't. And other sisters don't. But that does not make him any more oppressed than a black woman in my eyes. Because I think that when a black brother is going through hell, the black woman is going through hell. And when a black woman is going through hell, the black man is going through hell. And I get it. I mean, I think we have to be more nuanced even with these ideas around abortion. Because some people like my body, my choice, and I get it. I think the government is not the best entity or organization to decide whether a woman should have an abortion or not. Now, do I think that we should look at things more communally? I do. I think that we should look at things more communally. And some of the things that we talk about as it pertains to abortion in the first place, most people aren't getting abortions off some of the things that we're talking about. When we're talking about rape, of course, like that is a struggle. I think most people can, to some degree, understand why women don't want to carry a baby after that certain level of trauma. And not that a lot of women don't. They do. But some of the top reasons why women are having abortions are due to systemic issues, community issues that we need to talk about and put our time into, rather than saying my body is my, I get it. It's like, but let's not fight about this where we lose picture of the real problem. And the real problem being this oppressive society. Because why are most women having abortions? Some of the research supports financial instability, time and circumstances, relationship issues, impact on existing children, not ready for parenthood.
Mm-hmm.
And all of these, to me, are social problems that we have in our community that if we were to pull together and stop pointing the finger about who's this and who's that, and we really came together, and I think some of us do, we have good examples of that. But as I said a few shows back, if we didn't have all these social issues, you wouldn't even have as many people talking about this in the first place. You wouldn't have as many women saying that they need to have abortions. You wouldn't have women out here having 10. Like, I was listening to something earlier today when a brother said he's pro-abortion, like pro-choice. But at the same time, he had to, he had to really keep it 100 by saying that it's a disgrace that we're even having the conversation. It shows you where this society is. And I do see all the sides. I'm one of those people. I can see how people religiously, culturally, and whatever have different viewpoints on this. I am not saying that. Go ahead. I'm sorry.
I'm choking. Go ahead.
Oh, I can see why people have different viewpoints on this. I can't. Especially when it's your religion. Like, what do you expect? We're in the most white supremacist, Christianized, evangelical country in the world, probably. And we don't expect people to have these ideas and thoughts. But at the same time, we support Christianity and more than that, Christendom, which really is about ruling people. Really about, and so people believe this. Like, for example, I tried to convince an elder sister that that a woman can be just as much as a leader, and I taught the sisters all day long. And you're trying to try to convince me that sisters don't have the same patriarchal values. They do. Sisters want someone who can lead them. This is the argument I hear all day. They want someone who can lead them, although they don't know how to. Lots of times, the other argument is, can I allow him to lead me? He can't lead me. He ain't got shit. Like all types of things, you know what I'm saying? Like I'm tired of having to do all this work and do all that. But I don't want to give up my power, but I want somebody to lead me. And so many sisters believe that they want someone to lead them. I don't ever talk that talk. I don't even talk that talk. Me and my wife don't talk that. A lead. Like, to me, it's funny. It's very religious in a sense. Like, I think it's hilarious. You know what I mean? I
think a lot of our roles in these relationships come from religion and tradition.
Right.
And the religion is so patriarchal. We don't understand that the standard is skewed. The standard has an issue. The Christian standard, or it's a controlling standard. And so, but since we believe in our religion and our religious principles, then it makes sense in our relationships. And sometimes it does not play out in humanity the way that religion says. These roles. It's a problem.
It definitely doesn't. Mm-hmm. But we don't get to talk about that.
We don't give it up though. We never talk about that.
But then we want to hold on to the very thing that is institutionalizing these values. We don't want to talk about that. We want to go ahead and start acting like that religion ain't saying that. We want to find when people are looking and saying
Christians, bro, they ain't gonna have that.
No, not just Christians, all the religious zealots.
You're right.
So and then they try to find ways to flip flop like it don't disapprove of it. Well, it don't say this and it say that and it say this. Whatever, right?
Right.
But the reality is we can talk about all this stuff, but we don't talk about the root of these issues. And it's white domination, patriarchy. What's a good point?
This is a good point you're saying. Is like we talk about control. We talk about the role playing in relation with men and women. We talk about the application of, but we never talk about where it comes from. It comes from our religious thoughts and traditions and our traditions in our culture, a lot of cultural traditions that comes from like a spirituality in a way that definitely shows up and is so traditional, but it does not fit well in society with humans.
And we have to be more
these roles.
Yes. And we have to be more nuanced. The reality is somebody is fighting for life should not be demonized. Now, some people think they're fighting for life for various reasons. You know, what I mean is some people have a strong opinion that after a certain point, heartbeats and all this and all of that, no. I mean, like if you literally went and talked to most Black people, older Black people even, they would tell you, hell no, we're going to have this baby.
Yeah.
You know, like what I'm saying is they're not devils though. They're just not. So I think we have to stop bullying one another on each side and really begin to understand each other. Like the sister to me was out of pocket on that call because people wanted to critique the Democratic Party does not mean that they are anti-abortion or even pro-life or pro-reproduction or whatever we want to call it. Like we got all types of really interesting words to describe things that it doesn't really describe. We have all type of euphemisms. Go ahead.
But I think we're so our viewpoint is to no Trump or Trump cannot be president again. So you cannot critique how the Democrats are. And
just say that.
We have to. Just because Trump is so bad does not mean that Kamala is so good.
Or the Democrats.
Or the Democrats and all of that regime, because they're all trash to me. And so we got to be careful that we look at Trump as because he is a clown. Let's be clear. He is an absolute clown. But on the other hand, we have clowns that are smiling at us. And we feel good because maybe they might look like us. And I'm not saying Kamala is a clown. I'm saying that she's not perfect. She might not be the answer. We have to be careful with her policies and her affiliations, because particularly it might not be her policies kind of sound pretty good, but her affiliations aren't. Obama's policy sounded good,
Mm-hmm.
but it didn't play out too good. Um,
Well,
and and so I just think that we have to be very careful, and I think they throw things in the pot and see what was cooking. And right now, Biden was cooking, but then he stopped cooking, so they had to put a blackfish in the pot. So it's
mm-hmm,
cooking better and it's younger. So we have to
mm-hmm,
be careful with symbolism and what's thrown in front of you,
mm-hmm.
because it has nothing to do with policy and the application of how your life is going to be.
Yeah. So I just want to be, for those who are just joining us,
You
just
know the
want, I,
game on tonight, bro.
well,
They
well,
we fighting Dallas and the Giants.
okay, well, that's cool. Those who join us and those who will join us.
Absolutely.
That my stance is that black men don't have the power to be controlling or to be accused of controlling and legislating black women's bodies. And those other groups of power, the powers that be, I don't call them men. I don't call them men. I call them oppressors. I call them every other thing. But I'm not even talking about the poor white man or the white working class white man. I'm just going to keep it a buck. I am talking about those that are in powerful positions, having us down here in these streets fighting each other, men and women, poor, black, white, Asian, Latino working people, poor people, and quote unquote middle class people fighting one another over these strong political points that if we all take a deep breath and sit down and talk to each other, we will find out that the person has valid reasons for having those views. We do not have to demonize grandma who ain't pro-choice. We don't have to, who is pro-choice. Hold on, who ain't pro-choice. Let me say that. And we don't have to demonize grandma who is pro-choice. We don't have to demonize grandpa who does the same, because they're coming from a particular lens and understanding. And the reality is most of us go to the most extreme polar point when we're fighting, because most of us are talking about, what about rape, when we understand that most women aren't even talking about this as it relates to rape. Less than, I think, 0.5% or what have you, right? And even a lot of women still have babies after rape. But if she wants that choice, that's her choice. But we go to that extreme, but we're not really looking at the real stuff that's going on: the finances, the lack of work, not being able to support the children, and all these other things that we really. I'm not saying the other issue is not important, but it's really dealing with a symptom and not the core issue. But they have us. So I understand why grandma might be pro-choice, and I understand why grandma might not be pro-choice. I understand why grandpa might be pro-choice and grandpa might not be pro-choice. I understand if it's against his religious values, his cultural values and morals, and all those type of things, especially when you say, I'm going to help take care of this baby. That you like in your mind, you can't even fathom that. Like, what? Like, people have different ways of looking at the world, but this does not mean that I am saying that the government has the right to legislate one's body when we know we can't trust the government. So I don't trust the government on either side of it. The ones who speak in this side or that side, pro-choice or non. I think all of it is a mess. I do think that we have to get back to the governance in our families, though. I do think we need to get back to that, because a lot of people making decisions in this individualistic world on their own and not taking consideration other people. My personal belief is that, of course, that does impact a life. when you're talking about a woman carrying a baby. My other personal belief is that it also impacts other people as well. Does it impact the person who is mostly who's going to carry? That's a 9 month. You got to carry a baby for 9 months. That's a lot of work. Then you have to put your body through all of that. I don't think we should have simple conversations about these things. So I think we have to have real conversations and not fear-based conversations.
Well, I will say, I think we all being playing with puppets, though. We're being played. Like, we look at this conversation when it comes to women's bodies and the people who are actually legislating and controlling. They're playing us, and it's an ongoing argument. I mean, just like me mentioning in the NFL, we see that we literally watched them put a black man out of the NFL, just put them out, but we still watch. So even for entertainment purposes, even though we know that was wrong and it didn't sit right with us, we still participate. We're participating in the culture. We're participating in the thoughts of this white supremacy that we're living under. We're participating in their entertainments, foolishness, everything, and we're being played. And then when it comes to arguments that really mean something like this, the controlling of any woman's bodies, definitely black women, because we're black centered, to me, I think it's still we're like puppets here. And what does it really mean? Are we actually getting down to the core of the argument? Like, where does this come from? And like you said to me one day, if we had a society that was functioning within empathy, had accessibility, accountability, morals, and values, people would not be thinking about abortion. There would be nothing to legislate. You look at other countries they're not legislating abortion. Then this is not an argument. We have to look at, why do we even have to talk about it? Because of the country we're living in, because of the structure we're living under, because of the the system and what comes out of the system. So we got to look at this thing totally. And I think we look at it, okay, Democrat, Republican, what you're going to vote, what this one did. But really, society has a breakdown when we're talking about legislating abortion. A society that is in good shape, this abortion is not even a thought. That's what you said to me, and that's what resonated.
And I'm speaking statistically, right? Of course, there's always been, let's say, anecdote. There's been people who've had abortions, right? But statistically, it would be nearly non-existent, right? I mean, we don't question like you said, we don't question the society that creates this need and this major need for poor and black women. And you could understand why some people are having a visceral response to this. And I think that we should take their thoughts into consideration. Not, like, look at the amount of black women that end up having to have abortions or having abortions, right?
Yes.
And then we should ask the question, why are we having abortions at disproportionate rates?
Absolutely.
Right?
There's a reason. Yeah. And I think that's where it falls. We never take the argument for another. It's always surface. But the reason we don't look at the stress, the white supremacy, the culture of this country, the lack of value, the moral system. If we had greatness in society, people would perform within their greatness. And when you see a society that's broken down, then the behaviors are broken down. So we got to look at why we're even legislating abortion.
Right. And no one's asking that question because we're in such a great defense, right? It's a hard conversation to have. So it's going to require some triggering to happen, just like we had some at the beginning of the show. And it's going to require, it's going to have to require some of that to happen to get to a deeper conversation, because so we got to understand that part of what is going on in the Democratic media and the Republican media is created to imprint on women's minds and men's minds in different ways certain messages. And hence, as soon as you hear something, it's called like in Christianity or any tradition, they have what you call apologetics, or you have what they call catechisms or what have you. So when you hear certain things, your antennas go up and you start pulling out the defense, the apologetics or the apologist responses. So you've already been kind of fed how to respond to Brother Asar, or how to combat and argue these points like you do when you're defending your faith. And there's no difference when it comes to these ideas about women's bodies. When I think the conversation, to be honest, pardon me, is even greater than that. Of course, it's women's bodies. We're talking about families. We're talking about communities. We're talking about people. And we're also, one of the things you said earlier that I want to highlight is that these people who are legislating and the people who might even not understand why people are having abortions and can justify it in their minds might not be having the same experience as Shaniqua or whomever, or Becky, because she's having, like, they might not be having them too. Yeah, they might not be having the same experience or the same social economic status and struggle or the same relationship problems. So it's easy for people that quote unquote are closer to power to somehow not understand the struggle because they're privileges.
Yeah.
But it's, and you can imagine when someone's in that privileged place and you say, I can take care of this baby. Why did you go out and have an abortion? Like, like, to me, I keep it a buck. If my wife wasn't her life wasn't in danger, right? If her health wasn't going to be compromised, you're never going to be 100% with any,
or the baby's health,
or the baby's health, right? Yeah, or various. If it wasn't any of these things, it would be a struggle.
Any catastrophic thing, it would be a struggle. Yeah,
because it will be a struggle for me to wrap my mind around the fact that we have, what's the word? Have created an embryo at this point and is now going through the periods, and now you just decide up single-handedly that you're going to not have that child. That would be some shit to me. I would just have to be honest with you. That would devastate me in a sense. It would, like, because
that's understandable to a man like you, but there's so many that will pay for abortion immediately.
I'm making my point. And that's why I'm making the point that there's so you can conceive. I'm trying to help you conceive why some people in this play in certain spaces and privileges can't even fathom that.
Yeah,
you understand? I'm trying to show you all sides of this. And then on the other hand, why somebody who's not in that privileged position, quote unquote, can't understand how somebody could think that, or how vice versa. What I'm saying is, I think we end up fighting about the most extreme cases that are less likely to happen. That's the least likely to happen, such as rape. And I'm not saying rape doesn't happen. Don't get it twisted. People twist your words up, right? And it happens too often, right?
Right.
But what I'm saying it's not even that type of argument for the most part. It's about finances. It's about poor relationships. It's about this. It's about this culture. It's about all types of whole cultures on both sides, men and women. It's about unprotected sex. It's about all types of things. It's about
carnality. It's about a lot of stuff.
It's about lots of things.
Yeah.
But I think that we get played by both sides even the most those of us that aren't really in the duopoly per se, at some point at some point, what we do is we tend to just go and run with the easy conversation and argument because I'm on the left. This is what left people say, and because I'm on the right, and this is what right people say, and then you got the centrists that don't get no love, right? But what I'm saying, like you're a centrist, you know. But nonetheless, what I'm saying,
you're right about that.
You don't get no love when you're a centrist, right? Because nobody, you're boring, you know. Like you're too diplomatic, you know. So, you know, and they say make a decision. You gotta have to take a side. You gotta take one side or another. You know, pick one side, and that's what you see on a micro level in relationships, in families, in all type of relationships. Where as one of my mentors say, see, we are more concerned about winning versus resolving the issues. We want to win. And if we can't see that all sides of this argument is polarized to crazy degrees, something's wrong with us. I'm sorry. The women who are walking around on both sides, the men who are walking around extreme on both sides, we need to settle our bodies and have deeper and more meaningful conversations, because we're not having real conversations. We're having viscerally charged, emotionally body charge conversations, and we can't take in consideration nobody else because we think it's an attack on our body, although there ain't no damn attack on our body right now. There is legislation, but we literally feel like it's right here and right now, and it's gut wrenching, and we're fighting each other, and none of y'all ain't even pregnant. But what I'm saying is, I
understand. I get why people get so emotionally charged, but I think that because we are so duped, if I could say that, and what's going on in society, we're not looking at our triggers, and the triggers is, you know, like you said, the folks who make the rules, they cannot even see your level of life, your level of movement in life. So every child belongs in society because they are privileged. So it makes sense to them. So they're not going through what we're going through out here. So they're like, listen, no abortion. But the problem in society is, why are we aborting? Why do we feel the need? Why is society so effed up and so morally bankrupt that abortions are so prevalent in this society that we're legislating it? And we won't talk about that, nor do, as you said, will we talk about our affiliations and traditions and culture, religious culture here, and how we religiously put everything in religion, and then that's the way it should be, and that's how it is. And so there's no movement in that, and that keeps us from actually growing.
You can fight everything in this. You can fight everything in this country besides religion.
Well, you better know it. You better not talk about nobody's religion.
So what I'm saying is, it's even in legislation that you can't. so I don't know if that might be inaccurate. It is a protected class to a degree, right?
It is protected class. If you look at it, I mean, even when pastors get to a point that we got to really prove that they did it, because no one's gonna go after pastor. It got to be a video, baby. So we have to be careful about how we're thinking and functioning.
Yeah, the school that I taught at was a religious school, and the power that a religious school has on even who they can hire, how they can discriminate whether or not you're in their religion or not, or these special passes. Like we don't discriminate between race, color, creed, sexual orientation, but we can if you ain't this religion, you can't come up and chair.
You ain't no Protestant. Not for you, baby. And we see that all the time. We see religions, we see universities as just for religion.
But we're talking about coming together, diversity, inclusion. Just leave your religion out of here. If it ain't like you can be black, you can be disabled or able body, you can be tall or short, You can be all the
No.
different colors of the rainbow, but you ain't come up in here if you ain't no Christian or no Muslim or no. And but we talking all this diversity stuff. You know what I mean?
I
Like
think we gotta delve into that conversation too, Da. How religion is
I ain't doing that
it's
with
a
you.
tool.
I ain't
Who?
letting you beat up on my religious people. Cause you know you always I be having to back you up, like but rewind. Come on now, leave my peoples alone. And it's always
You gotta make me fall
Christianity.
out the picture.
Then you act like Christianity is the only religion out here. There's a
Well,
Christian
no, it
side.
isn't. But it's the one that's prevalent. But yes, I see a lot of problems with Islam. I see a lot of problems. With some
So
religions I like. I like Buddhism.
then you gotta
Actually,
keep it a buck. Then you do you have religious freedom? Can people in the church decide whether or not abortions are legal? Like, so everybody, the fight just goes on forever. Like,
yeah,
you
it
understand?
continues.
Like,
But the only fight should be is
mhm,
as a country that's supposed to be so evolved, that's
mhm,
supposed to be the most beautiful country in the world, the most liberal country in the world. Why are we fighting over killing embryos, fetus, children, whatever you want to call it? Why is
mhm.
that even a thing? If you look in other countries, that is not a thing. It is not a thing.
Uh,
So something is going on in this country that we have to delve into this type of legislation and this type of argument and act as if it's women or men making the choice. Society makes choices too. And so if we don't look at what we're living around and the structure in which we live in and this white supremacy, well, I don't even call it white supremacy. But I'm going to say whatever, white supremacy and the things that we're living around and
mhm,
how it hurts us as a people, as a
mhm,
country.
mhm.
That's why abortion is prevalent. It has
Let's
nothing to do. That's why.
let's read this.
Go ahead.
Chat GPT, right?
You want me to put it on
My
the joint?
no. Oh, I can pull it if
We
you can
can't,
find it. I said I can. Let me see if I can share it. Right.
or you can just read
Uh,
it. Just read it.
okay.
Just read
So
it.
Chat GPT. What
Mm-hmm.
race has the most abortions? It says abortion rates vary by race and ethnicity, but they are influenced by a complex mix of factors, including socioeconomic status, one, access to health care, education, and cultural influences. You see what I'm saying? Nobody ain't talking about that. We talking about our rights to our bodies and you can't control my body, and that's cool. But nobody's fighting for the rights of I'm not saying nobody, but they ain't fighting as vigorous
They're not talking about education. They're definitely not
race.
talking about no
They're
social
not talking about
economic.
they're not talking about health care for all.
Mm-mm.
They're not talking about universal health care. They're not talking
That's it.
about educate. They're not talking about educating your children. This is what I'm talking about. This white liberal BS. The same
Mm.
ones who fighting you following, they don't want their children going to school with you. And they don't want your children going to school with them. They
Yep.
don't want you to live in the same neighborhoods. They don't want you to have the same insurance as them. I mean, like literally, what I am saying is they're open for Obamacare. You get what you can get, if it's
Yeah.
Medicaid
But
or
it
if
has to
it's
be a mass market, not just so they can go to their own. They can buy private
they
insurance, but
they still
it
get to
needs to
get
be
better private insurance. They get to get the
of
gold
course.
level. They're not saying give you gold level insurance. You know what I mean? Like
Just
nobody, they're
give
not
you the
fighting.
mass
They're
level.
not fighting for that. They're fighting for the choice. But they're not
Yep.
also saying, okay, let's keep this going. Let's read this. So in the United States, where much of the data is publicly available, the Centers for Disease Control and Prevention and
Mm-hmm.
the I don't know how to say that word, Guttmeyer Institute provides statistics on abortion rates across different racial and ethnic groups. Based on recent data from the CDC, Black women have the highest rates of abortion per 1,000 women of reproductive age.
Yeah.
Why? Followed by who you think? Go ahead.
White
No.
or Hispanic? No, white.
We're talking
Maybe
about
Hispanic. They have a lot.
his.
Yeah, because they're oppressed too. Hispanic.
Let's think about Hispanic
When you see
women,
oppression, the highest ones are going to be who's oppressed.
right?
Black,
And
Hispanic, Asian, white.
No, and you can't always throw Asian in because statistically their numbers and the way that the most of them, the way they're educated and all that stuff
It's
is
different.
kind of, and the percentage of them that are here is
Yes,
very
very
little
low.
compared, right? So,
Yeah, and they're
followed by
white.
Hispanics, and then you say, and they white, and yeah, it's a little different, right?
They
Even
white.
Hispanics to some degree, got it, but nonetheless, look, and then white women.
Look at
However,
that.
it's important to note that higher abortion rates among Black and Hispanic women are often linked to disparities to access to contraception,
No one
health
talks about that.
care,
Too.
education, and other social factors.
Cool.
Abortion rates tend to be lower among women in racial ethnic groups with better access to health care services and comprehensive reproduction education. The
Wow.
statistics should not be interpreted solely in racial terms, but rather within the broader context of social inequalities. And nobody, why they
The
ain't
Chat
talking about
GPT.
Chat GPT? Would you okay?
Wow.
And it says, would you like more specific data or explore some factors contributing to these trends? Yeah, that's what Chat GPT has put in its output. And you this is what I'm saying. Like even Chat GPT give me the low. Like we put so much energy into
Yeah.
things, but why aren't we putting energy into things like how do we go and target the problem, the core issue? Because the core issue requires some social redistribution of some things. I was talking to my class last night at Boy. You know, I like Boy. I'm liking
I know.
being around my peeps over there. You know what I mean? They a lot of energy, but you
I
know,
love
but
it.
they I like Waynesburg too, but it's a little
No,
different, right? But
you like
nonetheless,
boy
so all my people over there, Boy, they
HBCU.
were saying, you know, Boy on some big stuff, right? They saying like, they got an email from out, yep, they're in the top 10 of HBCUs now. So, so
Very nice.
yeah, so
Finally.
that mean they lower than Boy. I mean they lower than Morgan. They're doing better than Morgan now.
I don't know about that.
I'm telling you.
And
But
that's
look,
the problem.
Morgan. But look, check it out. But I don't know what the new score was for Morgan, to be honest. But I know Morgan last year was a little higher than that. Yeah, but
It's probably one right now. Top one. Go ahead.
you know, Morgan number one in Baltimore. So no, I'm saying I'm from Baltimore, so I have an affection for Morgan. And
I need to
also,
get it. I need it. You need to stop. Just keep going.
so
Leave Morgan out of it.
so all HBCUs are number one in me. So look, check it out. For
That's
Black people in any of these institutions. But look, check it out. So where was I going? So but no, when I say no one, I'm saying statistically. I'm not saying not that one person in the world is not complaining about this, but we're not having the conversations about these things, and we're talking about the most extreme. We're using the most extreme reasons of why we should abortion should be legal. I'm not saying they shouldn't. I'm not saying they should. I am not saying none of that. I don't even think the government, like if the government doesn't have the government, I don't think they make good decisions for us. But I do honestly, I hold to my heart, if we are in a real community, I feel like there should be some community support around these issues. Even if it's not the way I don't like the way it's set up right now. I don't like my body. I don't like things that sound individualistic. I just don't. I'm talking about for men even. I'm like, I don't think men, honestly, I think we need to regulate where men stick their penis. I want to be honest. I do. So
ding, 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 ding.
So what I mean is, I'm not saying this government of America. I'm saying in the community, bro, I do. I'm like, yo, you should not be doing that. You
Yeah.
shouldn't. And why are you doing that? Why are you about to hurt another person? Why are you trying to hurt my sister? You know, or why you vice versa? I got sisters doing the same thing. So what I'm saying is, I think we need
Yeah.
to regulate penises and vaginas even in our
Ooh.
community. I'm talking about us. I'm saying those of us who are talking, we need to be talking to our friends, and we need to
Mhm.
hold them accountable for what they're doing. And you know, there's too many women out here in our communities that's allowing nasty penises in them without any protection, and vice versa. So I'm sorry, let me take the nasty off. You know,
It's the
I'm just
truth,
saying.
though. No,
I'm
I'm
just
saying
saying.
it nasty.
Yeah, yeah. So what I'm saying is, so we have to
Community
really.
community penis. You cannot allow it.
It's community penis, and I look,
Yes.
look, look, look. I'm sorry, y'all. I have a lot of information. I just want to let y'all know. I'm gonna do. I saw Judge Joe Brown on. Oh my god. I saw Judge Joe Brown doing a debate the other day. This guy is crazy, right? I don't know what's up with him. And then the sisters who are protecting him, whew, I'm God, my God. You know, he just talks so bad about Kamala. I mean, I'm not saying she doesn't deserve to be talked about, but I think in a way that he's talking about her is like
It's
unproductive. Like
visceral. Yeah, it's visceral. It's mean. It's malicious.
is non-educated.
Yeah.
He I don't know what this guy's point is. I don't know what he's trying to do. I don't know how he's a quote unquote millionaire, and then at some point he just ends up on these, like, as brother to Hawk. I saw he did a show yesterday. Why is he ends up on these little YouTube stations talking trash and trying to pump himself up as if he's the, I don't know. I can't get it. I
I
mean, I
think
don't.
Judge Joe Brown likes the spotlight and whatever it takes to, when he was on his show, he did some visceral things, and
He did
that's what yeah, he was the first one to be kind of,
rough.
real rough and raw
He
and
was he
rickety
was
raw.
rougher than Judge Judy, huh?
Well, Judy took a while to get to her rawness because her husband was first. She came around late. Her husband was on the court first, and then she came on the court.
Mm-hmm.
But Judge
Mm-hmm.
Joe Brown was the leader. So
Mm-hmm.
I think in a lot of ways he likes the spotlight, and he likes controversy, and so he goes out of
Oh,
his way.
okay. I see what you're saying. So I don't. I
Yeah,
remember these court shows, but not
yeah. If
specifically.
you look at him, he was the beginning of it.
Okay. Well, he's
Hmm.
something. He's something special. That's what I can say. This guy
He is that.
he's a. I don't know. I don't know if he has a. The guy is very like when people take him serious, that's the most dangerous part of it. Like, people take him as an authority. I literally
Yeah,
saw,
they
huh?
do, because whatever someone has a level of either celebrity or education,
And he
they're
has
in,
both.
yeah, he has both.
He has more than celebrity education. Guess what he has?
What?
He has celebrity. He has
Education,
education, and he also
status.
he has status. In what's the other one though? It's that stat. It's not necessarily status, but it's that position as a judge. Um,
He has
the
power. He's a little powerful in his.
uh,
Well, he was
it's
powerful, but he has a
it's
level of power
I can't think of the word right
that
now,
most
but
black men don't have. He
it's
has that.
so nonetheless, this is very this leads to us for whatever reason. Like, I don't even understand, like, those in conscious circles who are so anti-police but so pro Judge Brown.
Hmm.
Like, we don't be making sense because he now speaks like I saw this. Oh my God, Queen! I saw this thing resurfacing with Janet Jackson and
Talk
Michael
about
Jackson.
Kamala.
The Jackson 5 versus Kamala. They went and took the most Indian version of Kamala's stuff, and people just passing it around like one day she didn't want to dress in her Indian heritage. Like, come on, y'all, stop it. I mean, I get what y'all doing, but this is. I put out a post and people debate me over the post, but it's nice, I'm like, I can't wait. I say,
But I
I
think we need to
cannot.
stop listening to celebrities. Like Janet said, I heard she's not black, and Dio said, "Well, how could she say that if you breathing through a white nose?" So this is the
Oh my
stuff that
God, is that what he said?
yes,
I
this
heard
this
some
is
people say. I heard people are mad at what he said. Is that what they
that's what
crazy?
he said. He said, "How could you speak when you breathe into a white nose?"
This is what I wrote. I said,
What'd you write?
now, when celebrities don't say what you want them to in political discourse, you begin to question their relevance. Why did it take so long?
Mm.
The same people, the same folk, the Roland Martin crew, and everybody else who go and find LeBron James and In Vogue, and I mean, all A level, B level, C level comedians and celebrities to come and talk all this politics stuff when it supports their agenda, their understanding, anti-police but pro.
Yeah, that's proper.
Yeah,
Hey, brother, proper.
what's up, cuz? Yeah, so it's so crazy. So the last one I wrote was this. I said, I honestly can't wait for this presidential election season. Notice I said season
To be over.
to be over so that people can regain some form of mental stability.
Mm.
My my Facebook page, people are like, yeah, they got some action on Facebook. You know, it's funny because Facebook be dead sometimes. Let me drop this on Facebook and see what happens. And of course, all the people came out of the woodwork and tried to tell me how people are already crazy. They've already been crazy and unstable. And they are, all this type of thing. And I'm like, okay, notice I said a form of stability.
Yeah.
Notice I said of some form of mental stability, because you cannot tell me I'm gonna do what Judge Brown did on the show. I'm a judge. No, like he was like, I'm a how are you going to tell me that people aren't more hyper aroused now? You'll be lying to yourself. It's just not.
Yeah, I wonder why though. Why do we get so caught up in these elections and these systems? And I mean, emotionally, we feel valued when we're talking about the presidential thing and we're voting. And not that voting is bad. I'm not saying that. I'm saying that we are getting caught up and we forget about the real issues of our lives.
Because we're preparing for Armageddon.
Ooh.
We're preparing for the, I don't know, these words that people were saying, the apocalypse, and all these type of things, but
Illuminati.
The Illuminati, but the thing is, I get why people are emotionally charged to some degree, because just think about what happened the last time Trump was in the White House. Think about what happened in January. Think about people dying. Think about what happened with all those police brutality. Think about the marches in Virginia, like, and it's funny because I listen to all the different channels, right? So I'm listening to it on Fox. They're like, let's fact check Kamala. When he said he never said, why didn't they fact check her when she said that Trump said there's fine people on both sides? I'm like, because he did. Like, I mean, what are you talking about? Like, he literally said it. Like, I mean, you just gotta keep it a buck. I'm not saying Kamala just did a better job. She did a better job of she did a better job of speaking facts. She did a better job of holding him accountable. I mean, he started talking about they're eating the dogs, they're eating the cats. Like, bro, I'm not saying she's the best, but your man,
why you gotta say cats like that?
What did I say?
They're eating the cats.
The cats. Y'all New Yorkers, y'all the cats.
That's exactly how you sound. The cats.
The cats.
Well, you know what? Trump always his what he always goes back to is attack and diminishing someone else, because he's such a narcissist. He's such a clown. So I mean, we could talk about Kamala's gonna be him every time when it comes to debate. Now I don't know if she's gonna win the election, because see, they keep not talking about this electoral college. They just want to talk about she's popular. Okay, so was Hillary.
The last time you said that, my man JT Fax was like mad. Look, JT, what you thinking now, JT? If you jumping on here, I don't know if JT gonna get all the way through this one, but nonetheless, if when JT joins it, if he gets all the way to this point, I know he was like, he was highly upset at you, Queen.
Whatever. It's the
when
truth. That
when you were
electoral
like, I
college
don't
is
think that
something.
I don't think she's gonna win. Why are you saying that?
Right.
He was highly upset. He had some. I didn't even tell you. He wrote some stuff in the thing, and then he started apologizing. That I said, I ain't even gonna tell her. Lord God mercy. He
Well,
started
I
apologizing.
think, don't you think that's a valid statement though, that but voting is not just you vote and you elect somebody that you like, or the most popular. It's
Mm-hmm,
about that system they have in place, that they can move around, that has been skewed, that they can gerrymander. So this system is it. And every state, certain states have more of electoral votes,
mm-hmm,
and there's states that don't have a lot of Africans in them,
mm-hmm,
so we got to be careful. Houston, I
mm-hmm.
mean, look at Texas. Texas has a lot of California. These places have a huge amount of electoral votes, and we have to look at
Mm-hmm.
just system that we have in place. And because she's popular, and they are grinning and happy, that means nothing in a race in America. The system always wins.
Yeah, you know what's crazy about the political stuff with Kamala and so many other people is the fact that they really it's a game.
It is.
And what I mean is like to such a great degree, everything is calculated. And I am not saying that the problem began with Kamala or Trump or any of these people. The system itself is problematic. The fact that you have to lie about the fact that the more money you have, the more popular you are, and if you say the right things, the more likely you'll get votes is crazy. It's like there's something wrong with that. That you just change up your values whenever. Like no one can we gotta keep it a buck. You don't trust Kamala. Like you don't know what she stands for. You just don't because she doesn't stand for much. So, and what I mean by that is that one day she says this and one day she says that. It's clear that she does that. I mean, she's good at it. I mean, the lady is irritatingly good at when you ask her a question. I think she's like the politician of politicians. Like she literally, like, you ask her a yes or no question, and she said, "This is what it is." So, black people, and she dropped them points. They've been in 450. She lets you know that I know they've been enslaved and disenfranchised, and there was all types of chattel slavery and things of that nature. And she goes through it, and you're like, "Yeah, you can," and you be like, "Yeah, she got, ooh, yeah, she knows she's talking about our experience." Now think about it. She's smooth with it because some would not. I haven't heard. I'm not. I really probably wasn't listening to Obama a lot, but I've never heard one in these quote unquote. Let me say, I'm not. I'm saying out of when I start looking at stuff. I'm not saying Jesse Jackson and all these people. I don't know nothing about them. I know I was little and they were coming on, but she really articulates at times our experience like other people I've never heard.
But I think she has to do it because of the person she's running against, who is a bigot, who is a
Mhm.
racist, who's a clown. And I think that Obama really didn't have, which I think he had issues too, but that wasn't his his marketing move. But Trump is this, and I think that that works for her because the vote for the youth and
Mhm.
black people is very important in this race.
Mhm.
And
Mhm.
the youth is usually very liberal, very welcoming. They're not as racist as their fathers and mothers. And so I think it's a level. What she's doing is playing against the bigot she's running against.
Mhm. Mhm.
And I don't think it's because she's so in love with our community,
Uh-huh.
because Kamala is not married to our community.
Okay. So Queen sent me a thumbnail that she sent me the
Oh,
other day.
Can you
And
not
it's
say that about that?
and it's said because this is a show, so we're gonna talk about it. And she has here the subject is men controlling, legislating, and attacking women's bodies. I didn't even see that part. Attacking.
Yeah, that's what I put in. Yes.
And
I see number of black women.
now the conversation that she and I had was about black women. So
yeah,
always. So in
I'm
writing,
that was the subject that I put in.
Well, yeah, but we ain't gonna I'm not gonna let you get loose like that. We talking about black people. So I ain't trying to bring in all women bodies. I'm not saying that theirs don't matter. I'm just saying that I'm just not I don't know. There's never been like that's a good one, Queen. Where did you get that from, by the way?
What?
There's never been like that's a good comeback that you use. Like there's never been a time when all men bodies has been legislated against.
Never.
I think where did you get that from?
I'm saying
all men,
all women are being legislated with this abortion thing and choice and chance. That's all women. All of us have babies. All men, one thing that blanket white men, Spanish men, black men tell me, and their health and what they can't do with their procreation now, with their penis, because that's the only thing you can get to a man that would equate to a woman. It has to be the gonads. You have to clip them. So tell me one blanket legislation that we've ever taught, because if we don't want abortions, then we can stop semen from, they can still have sex, but we can stop semen from passing.
No,
if we really want to, we don't have to talk about abortion.
That I bet you, if you can somehow,
if semen wasn't in,
if you can somehow go to a man and go to his penis,
you can clip
and suck. I'm talking about after the fact, like after the baby is germinating and going through the process, and you could suck it back in there. I bet you they would do it, but you can't.
You can't. That's what I'm saying.
They will legislate sucking
the clip those. You can clip that.
But nobody's legislating clipping women's fallopian tubes.
No, you're clipping. You're telling they can't abort something that might.
I know. I'm saying, but I don't.
Wait a minute. Let me finish. It could be killing them. Some women.
Hold on. See, you did this a few times a day, and I got to call it out.
What?
I was talking, you cut it, and then when I started to continue talking, you're gonna start acting like I'm cutting you off, and I'm not feeling it. Okay, because that's a weaponizing that I'm not feeling right now in the.
Well, I'm not trying to weaponize
in the environment that we're under right now. So so you cut me off and you do that little thing. I don't like it.
What thing?
The thing is, let me finish. Like you didn't cut me off in the first place. You cut me off.
I don't remember cutting you off, but go ahead. I apologize.
I was talking about this, and you said, then you started to respond back. But nonetheless, I am saying those things aren't equal. No one's going and doing reproductive procedures on the front end. No one's making anyone do that.
Are you talking to me? You ready?
You didn't hear me?
I heard you. We're not talking about reproductive. We're talking about what can quell a man from making a baby, so we don't have to go to abortion. That's what they're talking about.
So Queen, but how logical is that?
By clipping men's semen.
All men's penis. So you're saying
clipping all. You telling where all women can't have abortion.
So I'm saying, do you think that's a realistic, fair argument though?
Is it a realistic, fair argument to tell women when they can have abortion? The same thing. None of it's realistic. So what we're talking about is two things that are fanatical. They're both fanatical.
I can see why somebody would have that argument, whether or not I agree with them or not. But I can't imagine anybody ever legislating that you stop all women from having babies, nor all men from having babies. That's the difference.
Okay.
I get what you're saying, but I just don't think it's a fair argument.
I
But
think
I
it's
will
fair
say,
because that's the only way a man can puts. That's the only way a man makes a baby.
you might
A woman
legislate.
carries a baby. We can't. You can't do anything with us, but go to abortion. You can't stop. You can't stop us at the front end because there is no value. We need the semen. So, in
You
all
can stop.
actually,
You can
how
stop
can you
at the
stop
front.
it? What,
You can
sew up your urethra?
No, you
so
can't.
how can we stop?
No, just like after women don't want to. I'm not suggesting this, by the way.
You mean like ovaries? Are you talking about?
Yeah, I'm saying the argument to clip all men's things and to
No,
tie
I'm not
all
saying
women
clip their
and tie
penis.
all and top. I'm talking about tip their tubes and to tie all women tubes up. That's to now say all people, like to do that to all people as a
We're doing that to all women. Abortion is all women.
So you
It's not
compare
one
those.
woman. It's all.
You compare those ideologically as the same.
Because that is the only way that you can stop a woman with this abortion talk or choice of chance has to be once they're pregnant. Before that, you can't stop them from having sex. You can't stop them from doing anything. And if you tie up their urethra, they're going to die. So you can't do that neither. So the only thing you can do is at the back end, once they're pregnant, is stop what happens to that fetus or that child.
Why can't you tie? Why can't? And I'm not suggesting this. I don't want people to think I'm suggesting this. Why can't you? So if you're going to clip men's what do you say? Clip their what?
You would have to clip this seminal I think is a vein.
So why can't you? So if you suggesting that, you're telling me that's not okay. Let me say this. What you're saying is
I'm saying that's
incorrect.
The only thing you could do to a man. No, you can't do anything else.
But you can't. But you said the only thing you do to a woman is on the back end, right?
Even if you stop her ovaries, it needs semen, so you can't clip her.
All right, let's have a real conversation.
Well, it's real. It's not real to you. But if you look at biological, a woman, if you clip her, do the same thing you did to a man, she's still.
All I'm saying is, I don't think it's
a baby.
It's not the same. But I'm not suggesting. Okay. I'm not suggesting it either. But what I'm saying is, that you would have a much harder time, saying to do any of those procedures to men and or women at the front end. I'm just saying, like, there's not going to be a law, like,
if you do that to a woman in the front end, it doesn't bid you anything.
It does.
No, and a woman needs semen. So you can clip her all day long, but she still needs that semen to make the baby. No, you could clip her. The man per se,
if you clip the man or the women, they won't be able to procreate. That's what I'm saying.
Absolutely, but the only woman, the way a woman can conceive, it has to have semen.
But
that's the only way. You can have a million ovaries in your body. If semen doesn't touch them, it's not going to happen.
That's true, but what you're saying is not a apple to apple argument. What I'm suggesting is I find it hard-fetched to believe that there will be any legislation that say we have to tie all women's ovaries up or clip all men's whatever tube. I'm not a biologist, so I'm not into that. But clip whatever they have to clip. They're not like that's not going to ever. Well, I'm not going to say ever. I bet you can do it in some very harsh environments, but I don't think that would be an argument in the United States right now, at least.
Not if men are at the helm. No way, because men cannot conceive that.
No. You gotta understand. Follow what I'm saying. I am saying on either the woman or the man at the front end that we clip their tubes. No one's going to do that.
Okay.
Can you see that? Are you thinking that you think they would do that to women?
I said no. I don't think they will. But if they did, it would not benefit because a woman can do. It would not. A woman cannot do anything without it being fertilized.
But
so you have to do her. You have to legislate her on the back end. She don't have a choice. A man.
The argument here is to prevent pregnancy, right?
Absolutely. A
So
woman won't get pregnant if semen doesn't appear. I
women
don't get
won't.
what you do with her ovaries.
Well, a woman won't get pregnant if you clip her ovaries or whatever the tubes.
If you
and
don't
tie 'em
clip,
up.
it won't.
You know,
She won't.
I'm saying we know people
That's
gonna
what I'm
have
saying
sex.
to you. Yeah.
We're saying people are gonna have sex, Queen.
Yes. You're right.
So what you're suggesting that
Mhm.
okay, why don't we just go ahead and clip all men's urethras or whatever you said? So if we do that, that's not going
I
to
didn't
happen.
say. I don't say we should do it. I'm saying that
No, no.
that has never been
It
something
was a hypothetical. It was a
even
hypothetical.
thought about. Yeah,
Yeah,
I'm not saying we
it was a
should do that.
hypothetical. All right, and what I'm saying is to have an equal argument, they would never ever do that same form of surgery on and make that possible for all women either. I don't see that happening. That's like saying we don't want any more children ever.
Okay. I hear you, but there, when we're talking about abortion comes from a fertilized egg. So that's what I was saying. If abortion is coming from a fertilized egg, women carry eggs all day. They're not fertilized. The only way it gets fertilized is by semen. So if you clip a woman or not clip her, she's not going to get pregnant if no one's touching her. So once the man gets in there, he's the one who is the trigger for pregnancy. So stop him then, and then we don't have to worry about abortion.
Nobody's stopping anybody on the front end.
And that's right. They're stopping women on the back end. Yes, once she's fertilized.
The reality is, they're stopping her from what?
They're stopping either her choice or
her choice from what? Her choice from what?
She can't have an abortion if she's sick, if she's raped, if she doesn't just want to, if she does not want to be pregnant, if whatever in that scenario, it ends because of the legislation. And they can only do that. They're not legislating. You can't have fertilized ovums and have sex.
So
they're not.
So
saying
tell me, what would you suggest?
I would suggest we look at society and change. That's what I would suggest. Society is the problem. That's why we're having abortions. But I'm saying men make the rules. Excuse me. There's always what a woman can do, but they have the ability to clip themselves. They don't want babies. So why won't you ever look at yourself? You look at what women are doing. But if you don't want fertilized ovums, don't have sex. Stop sex. Stop.
If you don't want fertilized ovums.
If you don't want anybody, no fertilized, you won't even get to abortion if semen is not present.
I mean,
stop having sex with women.
I just think that's a poor conversation. That's a poor argument
because
both people would be responsible at that. You can't just tell the man, if you don't want to fertilize ovum, then you stop having sex. You have to say that to both.
You would have to say it for both. But one thing that matters is a woman does not have a fertilized ovum all the time. It's a certain time of month that she can be fertile, right? So and so she's not always carrying around eggs that can be babies. No, that's not how the body works. So what I'm saying is, if you don't want to do
with this, what's that have to do with this conversation right now?
Because every time that she's walking around, she's not. Every time the semen touches you, someone can get pregnant. Every time.
Not if you go by what you just said. If she's not. If it's not that time of the month, I'm losing the words.
Yeah, woman has that ability, but a man, every time he can 100% get somebody pregnant each time he has sex. Every time
it has to.
A woman can have sex 1,000,000 times, 100 times, and she might get sex 6. She might get pregnant 6. She does not. She's not going to get pregnant each time.
It's not true though. It's not true.
Huh? How's it not true?
Because it takes a man and a woman to have a child. Right.
Absolutely, but a woman can only have a child at a certain time.
Yeah, so a man can't. If a woman can only have a child at a certain time, he can't make anything happen when it's not that time for the woman.
But not all women are the same date. I'm saying though, sir. So it could be 7 women in a room, and a man can have sex with all 7 at that room and deposit semen, and somebody can get pregnant in that room.
So what is that? What does
But
that
a
have to
woman could
do?
be 7 women in a room, and ain't none of them are in a fertilized state, and
Mhm.
18 men can touch them, and none of them will be pregnant.
So what does that have to do with what we're talking about?
We're saying that a men have the ability to impregnate a woman 100% of the time. Women don't have the ability to be pregnant 100% of the time.
Okay.
We don't.
So again, I'm going to go back to my
So if that's
argument.
the case, we were saying, why not go after? Why not say men? We're going to stop this ability. You can have sex, you still have the same arousal and a good time, but you won't just be able to procreate.
Now tell me where. Now give me an idea. So where is it that they're stopping women from having abortions for rape?
Some states there in some, because it's a state thing now. It's not a federal thing. It's a state thing. So states
Uh-huh.
can make the rules. Um, if you're and rape cannot be consideration if the legislature doesn't think that's something for abortion. Most I don't know what actual states. I don't know all of the states' rules right now, but I know if you're raped or violently raped in some states, you have to go to another state for abortion. That cannot be a premise for abortion. Rape in some states, not all of them, but some. Some are legislating choice, and some are legislating control.
Okay. So it says
Wisconsin is one of them.
states with complete or near total abortion bans. Alabama,
Mm.
abortion is banned except if the mother's life is at risk.
Oh wow!
Arkansas, abortion is banned except in cases where a mother's life is in danger.
Mm.
Idaho, abortion is banned with exceptions for rape, incest, danger to the life of the mother. Now listen to all these states right away. Kentucky,
Wow!
near total ban, similar exceptions for life-threatening cases. Louisiana, abortion is banned with limited exceptions for life of the mother. Mississippi, a near total ban with exceptions for rape and the mother's health. Missouri, then you say Missouri, something like that. Abortion is
Mm.
banned with
I think I said
exception.
Wisconsin.
Oh, Wisconsin, okay. Abortions are banned with exception only if the mother's life is at risk. Oklahoma, a complete ban
Wow!
of abortion, except to
Wow!
save the life of the mother. South Dakota, near total ban with limited exceptions for the life of the mother.
Wow!
Tennessee, complete bans on abortion with the very limited exceptions. Texas, abortions is banned with narrow exceptions of cases where a mother's life is at risk. West Virginia, near total ban with exceptions for life threatening cases in the cases of rape, incest under certain conditions. There you go. Wisconsin, a near total ban based on pre-Roe law that went into effect after decisions.
Mm-mm.
States with restriction trigger laws, so so
That's
there's
a
some
lot of
more.
states. So
That,
there are states where rape is not a consideration. Some are,
no, no,
but there
no,
are some.
no, no. I said total abortion, right? So, but it is true what you're saying that rape itself, they not some of these states aren't considering rape, right?
Yeah. Hmm.
Yeah, and
And it depends on the state, but that's what I'm
yeah,
saying. So it depends on how
yeah.
conservative the state is, how conservative the legislator is,
So,
and so I just think that we're we're in a rabbit hole, and these states are not talking about the environment of the states,
mhm,
the accessibility in the state, the social
mhm,
economic prowess of the state,
mhm,
the
mhm.
access of the state.
Yeah,
So that's the problem. It's the society.
I think I think everybody's having. I think people are having arguments, and nobody wants to listen to nobody. That's my fact.
Mm.
That's my truth. I think that there's instant triggers around these issues, and I don't think that just because people fall on one side of the aisle or the other, that makes them a monster. Um, people have beliefs, they have certain values both ways. I think that we are taught to look at each other as if you don't believe the way I believe, there must be an issue. And there's various reasons why people believe the way they believe. And then furthermore, I maintain again that black men are not legislating. Men are not controlling, legislating black women's bodies or women's bodies for that matter. Black men aren't even legislating their own goddamn bodies. So I find it hard to I can't put black men in a category, not at all. If black men can't be racist or black women can't be racist because they lack the power, and this is the thing we go by, and they can't be racist. Black men damn sure ain't legislating no bodies of no women. Now, these powers to be, or the people in the system, the whatever you want to call them, they are doing all types of things to legislate. These people who have these fundamentalist ideas, they are doing those things. But black men, I can't put black men. I don't think it's fair to put black men in this power category when it's, for whatever reason, women want to do that when they want to and not when they don't want to. It's just not, it don't, you can't, I don't understand where it comes from.
Well, I think you closed us out. Good evening, sis. But we out of here. We've been here 2 hours. And it's been a fruitful conversation. And you said it, that black men are not, but people are. And we kind of talked and touched on the abortion part of it and threw some things in and out this conversation. But I think the problem in this country is society. It's the society we live under. People will not abort if they felt whole and they had all of the rights and experience that they should have. And
in my greater, I was going to say, in my greater argument is that if black men are legislating, go back, family, and look back at the beginning. If black men are legislating, women's bodies. If black men are legislating women's bodies, so are black women. Okay. So are white women. Why do I say that?
Why?
Because the statistics support and show that it is a very polarizing conversation across race, class, and gender. That there's a lot of black women, a lot of white women who is for Roe versus Wade, and a lot of them that are against. And so there's also black men, which I showed is very close statistically to black women. Those who have the most difference will be white men with over 10%, a 10% difference, but still nearly is very polarized. It's still very polarized. I think percentage, if we go back, I think it was like 47% of white men,
47 and 62 women.
Yeah. So that's still nearly 50% of white men is, what is that? 50% would be disapprove of the Supreme Court ruling on Roe versus Wade. Yeah. So, I mean, when we're looking at people in general, I'm saying that none of these people are the powers to be. The women that's making the decisions, because the women who are against it are learning these thoughts from somewhere. The men that are against it are learning these thoughts from somewhere. The men are for it are learning these thoughts from somewhere. The women who are for it are learning these thoughts from somewhere. But they aren't necessarily the ones. The majority of the society is not making these decisions. In fact, if the majority of the society was making the decision, we wouldn't be talking about it in the first place, because majority of the society, from statistically, support Roe v. Wade. statistically, the majority of the society, 60-something%, support Roe versus Wade. So going back to the conversation that we had, again, most black men do not feel that they have the right over women's bodies, especially as it pertains to Roe versus Wade, nor do black women, nor do white women, Asians, in most of the country.
Okay, you said white men.
White men is 47%, so I say that that's damn near kind of half and half.
Okay. All right. Well, listen, you have ended this conversation. It's a great conversation. Abortion is polarizing. It's emotional. But
and there's more abortions going on right now.
There is a when you have these type of conversations, you have to look at why, not the actual behavior, but why do you have this behavior? And if you look around the world, no one's fighting, no one's legislating abortion. Only the highly evolved Americans. I said no one is legislating abortion at this rate, but the highly evolved Americans. Something's wrong with our society. Let's be clear. The reason why we're doing these things, it starts with what we're living around and what we're doing, what we're having to deal with.
And then I think that's why you could see equally why men or women, whoever, I think, again, I can see how people will have different perspectives about this. Even as pertains to the society, as you stated, which I agree with, being such a poor society in how it treats its people as citizens, where they have where abortion to these levels are acceptable. Now, going back to Hotel California's statement, I appreciate it. She said, if they are being silent, they are complicit. And then you will have to say that half men, half women across the board is complicit. Because this is not an issue where men and women have such numbers that are so different. But we do know that most men and women do not legislate, are not the powers to be, are not the oppressive class. But we do know that patriarchy, that thought process is pervasive in white culture. We do understand that some of these thoughts, again, are religious thoughts. I'm not even coming for nobody's religion, but we cannot act like some of these thoughts aren't fundamentals. We can't act like our own parents don't hold these thoughts half the time. We'll be lying, and we know how we love our parents. We know we love. I had this conversation when I was a little boy, and I think my views have been formed by this talk. I don't know if this person who is a parent of mine told me that they were for abortion under circumstances such as rape and some other things like life-threatening event for the mother and things like that. And this is what I heard this a long time ago. I'm talking about I was a little boy. So in my household, it was never a thought that I would have that if I was to be in a relationship with somebody that they were just going to have an abortion, because that conversation, it was like, if it's something wrong with like if it's going to be a threat on the mother's life, if it was through rape, anything like that. But outside of that, we could, as a family, make sure that we care for this baby. And I don't think anything's wrong with that. Like if a woman is anti-abortion, minus those other things, I don't think nothing's wrong with that. If a woman is pro, quote unquote, abortion for whatever her reasons are, I don't see something being totally wrong with that either. And what I mean by totally is if she has the reasons, then there must be a reason why she's making that hard decision. But yeah, y'all want to come in here when we leaving. And
I know we got it. We got to get out here. It's 2 hours.
So
yeah, they they was on people coming in, but we got to go. So you've ended.
So we're going
conversation eloquently.
So we're gonna start our show next week at 12:00. No, I'm just playing around.
But Thursday, we're fighting the entertainment, but
okay.
this is more important than the entertainment. So It's all good. It is all good. And so there is a replay, guys. Like, share, subscribe. Please go and listen to the replay, comment, get us in the algorithm, black up the algorithm. This conversation is very important. We kind of take it away from your emotions and to look at more than just what's being thrown at us and this Democrat, Republican, and the national presidential race. It's more than that. And it's more than abortion too. It's society. And we got to look at that too.
Yeah, I apologize, family, for having a more nuanced view of this. I think I do urge us all to kind of have more nuanced views and understanding of why people stand where they stand on issues and not necessarily put people in enemy boxes.
That's it. That's it, guys. Listen, we're here next Thursday.
You're going to get your mind back.
We'll see you guys at 9 p.m. next Thursday.
Black and I'm proud.
Deuces, we out.
When you claim you're African, you're going to get your mind back. Black and I'm proud. Claim you're African. Black and I'm proud. I'm telling you. When you claim you're African, you're going to get your mind back. Black and I'm proud. Claim you're African. Black and I'm proud. I'm telling you. When you claim you're African, you're going to get your mind back. Black and I'm proud. Claim you're African. Black and I'm proud. I'm telling you. Become a part of it. Embrace it. 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 When you claim you're African, you're going to get your mind back. Black and I'm proud. Claim you're African. Black and I'm proud. I'm telling you. When you claim you're African, you're going to get your mind back. Black and I'm proud. Claim you're African. Black and I'm proud. I'm telling you.